apparently we do have audio, but not, and we're trying to get the video back again. If you think it would be useful, a useful use of your time and, of course, of our colleagues' time there in Haiti, then maybe we should start. And I would ask David and Kim, can you hear me? It's Martin Nazirki here.
Yeah, we can. Thank you very much.
All right. So thank you very much for doing this. Could I ask you, I'm assuming you might have some introductory information you would want to put before taking questions. The floor's yours. Can you see us, by the way?
Not currently, but more importantly, we need to hear you. So if you can speak loudly, we'd be grateful.
Okay, very good.
We can see you.
So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. We're going to do this in two parts. Kim Bolduc, who is the acting head of this mission, will introduce the humanitarian relief efforts that have been taking place. And following that, I will make a short comment about the situation on the MINUSTA side, military, police, and so on, plus our ongoing search for casualties, and then we can take questions.
Thank you very much. I'm Kim Bolduc. I am the DSISG and in charge of humanitarian and relief efforts right now at the mission. I would like to inform that damages and casualties are currently being assessed as the earthquake has been fairly massive with very extended problems all around the city, in housing, government buildings, UN buildings as well. Concrete figures are not yet available, but we are working on them. Hospitals, hotels, banks, other commercial buildings have also been heavily hit and no longer operational. An important number of people are still trapped under the rubbles, and we have already gotten some support in search and rescue teams to look for them. At this point, many teams have already arrived in the country, namely the Dominican Republic team, the French team, the Chinese team, and the American teams. The UN system has been very severely affected by this disaster, as two of our main buildings, including the MINUSTA headquarters and a UNDP house, have totally collapsed. We have many staff members still unaccounted for, but we believe that they might be somewhere in their houses, so we have opened up a sort of house-by-house research to find out about their whereabouts. More information on these figures will come probably tomorrow. Response have started immediately. We have gathered the UN system and the humanitarian community to provide support. It has been difficult because access is hampered by obstruction in the roads. Our communication system have collapsed, and the IT networks as well. We are gradually restoring internet access as well as some sat phone system are functioning. Much more, however, needs to be done with the support of the international community as a matter of extreme urgency in order to meet the crucial needs that we are verifying by the day. 2 days after the disaster, our main priorities remain search and rescue teams, as many people are still trapped. We need to strengthen the coordination capacity and mobilize resources for response operations. The distribution of food and water has started as of today to the most affected populations. We are looking at the immediate shelters as people are sleeping in the streets right now for fear of aftershocks, which have been coming until yesterday. At this point, the UN has mobilized all the available resources, and the partners that are helping us are flying in a very large amount of relief support. Planes are landing all the time. We do not have a a clear inventory of which of those are the military flights, and some of them are coming in with humanitarian support, but they are forthcoming. OCHA is preparing to launch an immediate flash appeal to cater for the requirements of the population. Right now, the Central Emergency Funds is also preparing the basic requirements in terms of food and non-food items, water and logistics, so that we could, for the first month, at least take care of 1 million people. These are the figures we're working on, although we estimate that the requirements are much higher than that. We have set up also a humanitarian forum that started to convene yesterday. That humanitarian forum includes the participation of the MINUSTA capacity together with the UN humanitarian agencies, with also the participation of NGOs, major NGOs that have gathered at Lock Base. We have set up our headquarters at the Lock Base of MINUSTA by the airport to facilitate communication and issuance of information. We are expecting the arrival today of an UNDP, a UN Disaster Assessment and Coordination team, being sent in to carry out an extensive assessment of damage and requirements. Their work is starting today in the afternoon or tomorrow morning. We have now 5 clusters to which we are inviting all the partners. These 5 clusters are meant to facilitate the coordination of work, namely one on logistics led by WFP, the second one on health led by WHO, the third one on water sanitation led by UNICEF, and the last one on shelter and NFI, non-food items, led by IOM. The clusters are counting on the continuous support of the MINUSTA militaries, so that we have the security guaranteed by the MINUSTA escorting our distribution groups, and also protecting the distribution centers and the warehouses containing humanitarian supplies and food. Thank you.
Okay, let me bring you up to speed on some of the activities that are going on in MINUSTA, the UN Stabilization Mission for Haiti. In this landscape of rather bleak news about the situation in Haiti, there is one strikingly good story that I can begin the briefing with, and that is that after 2 days under the rubble of Hotel Christopher, we were able to extract this morning, live and well, a security officer, a personal protection officer, who had been found 4 meters below the lowest level of the rubble. Kim mentioned to you that the rescue teams, the expert rescue teams, are coming in, American, Chinese, French and Dominican, and overnight they were working with dogs, among other things, and sound equipment, audio equipment, and they were able to locate our colleague, and this morning they were able to extract him from the rubble. Now this will indicate to you that the process of search and rescue is critical, and that we can only proceed delicately and carefully, looking in all of the offices that have collapsed with these experts to try and save as many people as we can. The next phase, when this stage has been exhausted, we will then move in with heavier equipment to move concrete and go into the task of recovering bodies. Let me give you some figures. These are not absolutely firm figures. They're the best I can give you under the circumstances. But in terms of statistics of casualties so far, this is the following information I have. On the police side, we have 4 dead, 9 injured, and 18 missing. This is out of a total police population of 2,000, roughly 2,090. That is 1,100 United Nations police and 990 formed police units. On the military side, we have 19 dead, 26 injured, and 10 missing, out of a total of about 7,000 military personnel. And on the international and UNV side, the staff side, we have, as far as we know to date, 13 dead, 38 injured, of which 24 are national staff, Haitian staff, and we have about 160 people still unaccounted for. And this is out of a total of 490 international staff, 1,235 national staff, and 215 United Nations volunteers. We have made 8 live rescues from the rubble, 7 of them from our headquarters in Hotel Christopher, and 1 of them from a nearby UN office. And we have, that's 8 live rescues, including the one I mentioned to you just now that happened this morning. And we have recovered 13 bodies from the wreckage of our headquarters in Hotel Christopher. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Kim and David. I'm going to do it this way for the questions. I'm going to, can you see us now? We can see you. Okay, so what I will do, I will ask the correspondents to identify themselves and to put their questions. Okay, so James Bone first, please.
David, hello, it's James Bone of the London Times. Good to see you looking so well. Hello, Kim. Can I ask you, first of all, have either of you spoken to Tarmo Jover, have either of you spoken to the Estonian close security officer who was rescued, or can you tell us anything about his condition and his mood? And also, can you describe your own personal experiences, both of you, in the earthquake? Where were you, and what happened in the immediate time of the earthquake?
Okay, let me start off with your first question. Our colleague who's rescued is going to come and see me. I haven't spoken to him yet. I had suggested that if he wished to do so, he could come to this briefing and address you himself, but I'm not sure he's ready to do that. I do know that he walked out of there unscathed. I mean, he's been medically inspected and evaluated. He doesn't have any serious injuries. Obviously, he was rather dehydrated and covered in dust. He will be evacuated later today, I think, or tomorrow. But he's walking and he's talking. I can't tell you his mood. I haven't seen him yet. But I assume he's very, like all of us, I have to say, very, very grateful to be alive. And briefly, just let me tell you my own experience of the earthquake. I was in my office, and of course the event happened, and it accelerated with extreme violence. The entire building was shaking violently, and I was hanging on to furniture just to stop myself being thrown around the room, and praying that the big concrete pillar in the middle of my office would not break and bring the whole building down on me. When it subsided, the hotel, the central part of the minister headquarters, had collapsed and had blocked off access to the outside from my office. So all of the people in my wing had to get out of my window and go down 3 stories on a ladder, a rather rickety ladder. So that was this situation on my side on the moment the earthquake happened, and I'm sure Kim will be glad to share her experience with you.
Yes, I was also in my office, sitting on the 2nd floor of the UNDP main building. UNDP has 2 buildings, the main one and one across the street. It was extremely violent. I didn't even have time to seek cover. I was sitting on my chair and holding on to the table. Everything collapsed around. I saw the wall in front of me opening up with a very large crack, and I was just hoping that it would stop. It lasted a long time. The moment it stopped, I came out of the room and saw my staff all around. We gathered and got out. The UNDP main building is still standing, although no longer operational and extremely damaged. Then I saw across the street the other UNDP building had gone down completely. It has collapsed completely. Behind me are 2 other buildings occupied by UN agencies. All of the staff which were inside the main UNDP building and the other 2 UN buildings escaped unharmed. but we got during several hours trapped over 10 people in the house that has collapsed across the street. So we spent the night sitting in the parking lot as there were many aftershocks. Thank you.
David, your office, where was your office? Your office, where was your office? Was your office in the Christopher?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. My office was in the Christopher, yes.
And you were on the third floor. In American terms or in British and...
The Christopher, you come in on the ground floor from the main entrance, and then you go, the actual rest of the building goes down several floors below ground level, visible from the outside, because the whole thing's built on the side of a hill. So I'm on the ground floor level coming in from the main entrance, but in fact more than 3 floors above the other side of the building.
Which side did you come out of?
Please identify yourself.
Sorry, Neil McCormick from the New York Times. You said you came down a ladder. Was that from the ground floor side or from the second floor side?
That was from, well, I mean, we went down 1, 2, 3, I think we went down, how many? 3 floors. We went down 3 floors on a ladder, yeah. That was propped up on a wall, so the ladder, the base of the ladder is wider than the wall. It was propped up on a wall, and we were being held by colleagues below and guided down slowly. And I think we got about 15 staff out on that ladder.
Okay, Bill.
Phil Horner, Bloomberg News. Thank you. Could you both give me a sense of what you've seen on the streets? Give me a sort of eyewitness feel of what you've seen, what the situation is as you've gone from the where you were down to the log base, and the sort of what the feel of the town is right now. How people wandering around, people rushing, sleeping on the streets. How many? Just that kind of stuff.
Kim and I both travelled in a convoy from our UN headquarters, our broken, smashed up UN headquarters, down to this log base. I'll allow Kim to start, please, and then I'll share my impressions with you of that trip and what we saw.
It's almost a ghost town that we went through on that morning of Tuesday when we were moved from our headquarters to log base. Many bodies along the streets, a lot of injured people just lying around. Houses are destroyed, and very new and large buildings totally collapsed. It is now at night. Port-au-Prince doesn't have electricity. It looks like a ghost town, and the situation is very dire because all the survivors are sleeping out in the streets. So they took concrete blocks and they put just in the streets, on the road, and they sleep on the road. So if we want to go through, we have to take alternative roads, and it's very difficult to get from one point to the other. People are all in a state of shock. They are not really talking. They are just gathering and sitting together, just waiting for something to happen and fearing aftershocks.
It's a very, very distressing sight. The people we see, they've lost everything. It's hopeless. It's a hopeless situation from them. They want us, they expect us to provide them with help, which is of course what we want to do, but we're not in a situation yet where we can do that on a massive scale. And unfortunately, they're slowly getting more angry, I think, and impatient, because when they see us moving, and we're patrolling the streets, the military and the police are out patrolling the streets in order to maintain a calm situation so that humanitarian aid can be delivered. That's essential. And they're also out, by the way, collecting the dead bodies that are littering the streets, as they're a serious health hazard. But I fear we all are rather aware of the fact that the situation is getting more tense as the poorest people who have nothing need so much are waiting for deliveries, and of course we're trying to do everything we can to get them the help they need, but I think tempers might become frayed.
I would like to add that it is remarkable that the population that has been left with nothing and sleeping out in the streets have not carried out any sort of looting at all. All the collapsed buildings have been respected, and at this point what they're asking for is help to gather the bodies and to dispose of them and to carry the injured to medical facilities. And this we're trying. David rightly pointed out to the risk of having a social unrest very soon. That's why, as of today, WFP is starting distribution centers for food and water, accompanied by the militaries, and we are moving as fast as we can to show that we're here, and we do have enough reserves for a number of days until we get more supplies coming our way. But we are starting, and we have enough to go on for like a week of distribution of relief support.
Okay, in the second row, please.
Kristen Salumi from Al Jazeera English. Given that things are getting tense, are the 3,000 police officers that you have enough, and is there any effort to bring peacekeepers from other parts of the countries to help in that effort, or will other countries be providing assistance in that way?
So far, we discussed this with our colleagues in headquarters this morning, actually, and so far we feel confident that we have enough numbers of military and police to handle the situation, and we will, if necessary, bring troops or police in from the outside areas into Port-au-Prince. One of the problems is that the national Haitian police are not visible at all, right? They've simply vanished, they've disappeared. So all law and order requirements have to be maintained by us. To date, it's been taken care of, but obviously if the situation should deteriorate, the mission is in a position to request through the Secretariat additional support. But so far, we don't feel that's necessary.
Wait.
Follow up on the national police have disappeared?
Please.
What do you, David? You mean they just ditched their uniforms? They've gone home. There's just no police on the streets of any type.
We don't see them. We don't see them. We don't see them on the streets at all. I mean, don't forget they're Haitians too, and their family homes have been smashed up or destroyed, and their family members have been injured or killed, and so they're acting obviously to look after their nearest and dearest. I'm not making a criticism here, but simply the fact that the Haitian police are no longer visible publicly.
Yes, CBC.
Yes, hi, Catherine Mercier from CBC Radio-Canada. I have a question for both of you, and if Kim, you could answer partly in French, it would be wonderful. I would like to know what's happening with Edi Anabi, and also with the fact that the number 1 and 2 of the mission in Haiti are unaccounted for. How has that impacted the coordination effort of relief and humanitarian aid? Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Since we have our top management still missing, it has been in the first hours a real challenge to gather all the efforts of the mission together and get people to continue working. Mais je dois dire que les personnes qui sont ici présentes ont réagi très bien. Ils ont pris les choses en main. Nous sommes à ce moment en mesure d'assurer le travail qu'il y a à faire. Nous avons ramené tout le personnel disponible et en bonne santé, disons, pour former les équipes. Nous attendons l'arrivée aujourd'hui du nouveau représentant spécial, M. Edmond Moulès, et nous allons continuer le travail. Mais je dois vraiment remercier l'effort et le courage de beaucoup des personnes, du personnel des Nations Unies, tant de la MINUSTAH comme des agences des Nations Unies, qui ont perdu les amis, les proches, des collègues, aussi dans le désastre, ont continué, n'ont jamais arrêté, même pas une heure, pour s'occuper, si vous voulez, de leurs propres problèmes, parce que nous voyons que la situation dans le pays est extrêmement grave. Merci.
Okay.
I would just add that I would endorse everything Kim has just said, and just re-explain to you perhaps that when we recover bodies of victims of this or any other incident who are UN personnel, first of all, the identification process is done in conjunction with New York, and then the families have to be informed, and it's only after that process has been finalised that identities can be released. So to date, we've not been able to release any identities because that process is still underway. I'd also just say that in the coming days, sadly, we must expect, as the search and rescue effort gives way slowly to the removal of very heavy, very heavy concrete and rubble, which has been impeding process, and we will start to recover more bodies. So that is something, a phase that we're going to slowly have to move into.
Please.
Hi, Kim, this is Frankie Ciardo from CBS News Up to the Minute. You made a comment before about there being no looting. We have reports this morning of looting at supermarkets, people carrying out bags, electronics, that sort of thing. You actually have seen no looting at all. Have you gotten any other reports? Because we've been getting reports about looting for 24 hours.
I think that, I mean, we have not personally seen any looting, and when we were going on our very long trip through Port-au-Prince, it was indeed, as Kim said, the population was behaving in a very dignified and calm way. But nonetheless, it's true, one of the main supermarkets in Port-au-Prince has collapsed, and we are getting reports that some looting has taken place in this and probably in other vulnerable areas where commercial goods are now more or less readily available.
Okay, please.
I can ask in French.
Please, for the colleagues who don't speak French, say it in English as well, please. Yeah, you can ask it in French and please say it in English as well.
Bouchra Ben Youssef, Maghreb Arab Presse. On parle de scènes de pillage et des coups de feu qui seraient entendus à Port-au-Prince. Est-ce que vous le confirmez?
This question has just been answered.
You can ask us in English.
She wants it in French.
Yeah.
Okay.
She wants an answer in French.
Yeah, in French.
Okay, fine.
Oui, nous avons fait le commentaire que dans la première journée, il n'y a pas eu d'attaque des installations, des maisons qui étaient effondrées. Mais effectivement, il y a un très grand supermarché ici, le Caribbean, qui s'est effondré. Alors évidemment, les côtés éventrés du supermarché offraient des produits de première nécessité, de la nourriture. Et après 48 heures, nous avons entendu dire que les gens sont venus chercher de la nourriture dans ce supermarché. Mais qu'il y ait un mouvement très large d'attaquer, de voler et de rentrer dans les maisons et les buildings, je ne crois pas que c'est en train d'arriver. Hier soir, très tard, j'ai encore fait un tour de la ville. Je n'ai pas pu vérifier ceci. Et en ce qui concerne les coups de feu, nous sommes la plupart du temps ici à Lock Base. Je ne peux pas confirmer s'il y en a eu ou non qui étaient tirés.
Matthew.
Inner City Press. I wanted to, in the numbers that you gave, and thanks for this briefing. I think Mr. Wimhurst, you'd said of neither police nor military, but civilians, 13 dead, 38 injured, 24 of whom were national staff, and 160 missing. I'm just wondering, of the 13, I just wonder why you're only providing a breakout in terms of national staff. Are they included in all of the figures? And what initially here they weren't really reported, they weren't speaking on that. Can you say what the status is of checking on Haitians that work for the UN there in their homes or wherever else? And go ahead.
Sure. I mean, in terms of injuries, we have a clear breakdown of who's been treated, Haitian national staff or international staff. In terms of bodies recovered, I can't tell you who is who. We haven't got that breakdown at the moment. I mean, you must understand that identification is not always as easy as it might appear when bodies have been badly damaged in wreckage and rubble and so on. But of course, we do take into account the national staff, and our national staff officers are following up as best they can. Don't forget, communications have completely broken down. We can't move around freely. So it's very difficult for us to check if national staff who had left for work left work for that day because they knock off work before that earthquake happened, they'd gone home. We have no way of checking if in their own homes they're still alive or they're injured or something else has happened to them. It's an extremely difficult situation.
Or are you going to check on...
For the UN staff, the UNDP has dispatched 3 teams to go house by house of our local personnel to check their whereabouts, and that effort has started already this morning. So we will be in about 24 hours with the available information of how many people are still unaccounted for will be found, and we will be able to report on that.
Matthew, lots of people want to put questions. I think it would be fair to pass it around a bit, okay? Philippe.
Hello, David. Could you tell us a bit more about the scene at the Christopher Hotel, the kind of rescue effort? Are the Brazilian peacekeepers still involved? Did the rescue team take over? Are they working around the clock? And also these rescue teams that arrived, are they also working as well all around the city, or for now are they concentrating on the UN buildings?
Okay. Until the expert rescue teams arrived, which was only yesterday, it was our brave Brazilian soldiers, our Chinese FPU, other nationalities of soldiers, Bolivians, Ecuadorians, Nepalese, Filipinos, were all involved in trying to locate survivors in the wreckage of our headquarters. Don't forget that they had little equipment of the sort that is really needed, heavy-duty lifting equipment, and for those of you who don't know our headquarters, the actual access to it is quite narrow, and we weren't even able to bring in a large crane that we thought might be useful. So the first phase was carefully using the tools we had at hand and exploring the whole of the wreckage, and then when the expert teams came in, with their knowledge, they started to be able to locate more precisely the areas where survivors can be found, like using dogs and sounding equipment and so on. And so they've taken over, and they're working around the clock. But we haven't, our Brazilians and our other nationalities are helping them under guidance. But the experts are now in the lead on this.
Expert teams, are they also working around the city, or are they just concentrating on UN buildings?
We have a team of French search and rescuers, and they're working in the Montana Hotel, which has completely collapsed. And I understand that they have made 3 live rescues and recovered 1 body to date.
The Dominican Republic has sent in several search and rescue teams. They have been divided up, and they were at first helping with the Christopher Hotel, but they are moving now, and they have moved, in fact, to the city to help the other collapsed buildings around.
Can you tell us how the Estonian was found? Was he found with a dog? Was he found with electronic sensing? Do you know what team found him? Any details on that?
This is Neil McFarker from the New York Times.
I'm sorry, I can't really give you details of exactly what happens in the rescue operations. I don't have that information.
Joe.
Joe Loria from the Wall Street Journal. David, like James, I'm very happy to see you alive. Mr. Anabe's, was the Estonian Mr. Anabe's bodyguard? And can you shed some light on how President Preval has said that Mr. Anabe is dead? Have you contacted his office? Because the Secretary General is unable to reach the President. I want to know if the Estonian was his bodyguard as well.
I can't tell you what his duties were that day. He is a close personal protection officer, and he would have been assigned to either guard one of the principals, either the SRSG or the principal deputy SRSG. On the other hand, he could have simply been off duty and in the building. I mean, that's not unusual either. So I can't tell you what he was doing. And the second part of the question was?
About President Preval. How is it that he said that Mr. Anabe is dead, and the Secretary General can't reach him to ask him about that?
Well, look, I mean, people jump to conclusions, and which is not surprising when you look at the hotel and the wreckage. It's difficult to imagine how anybody could survive that, and yet our colleague did. But for whatever reason, some people, including the president of Haiti and others, highly placed, have drawn conclusions that really, can only be confirmed when the process has completed its course, and we still don't know, and we still can't say what the fate is of some of our colleagues who are buried under the rubble.
Okay, going right to the back here.
Nabil Abisab, Al-Farra correspondent, Al-Farra TV station. First of all, where are you sitting now? The room around you still in good shape. And second, do you have any estimate for casualties and fatalities in the country, or at least in the city? Do you believe that the number 100,000 people dead is an accurate number now, or how long it will take you to have an accurate number or figure?
Estimates of national casualties.
These are estimates that we have seen ourselves. We are unable to confirm, but we are starting the UN assessment as well of casualties, damages, and requirements, as I mentioned earlier, as of today. The damages are so enormous. These figures do not surprise us, though. And as we drove around, we saw the bodies that were lying around the roads, along the roads, and in the houses. So we cannot confirm the figure, but we believe that it is a very large number.
Okay, Mr. Abadi.
My hand always last. Thank you very much for this briefing, Abadi, the dossier. I have two questions. One, you mentioned 3 times that people are sleeping in the street, including, I suppose, children. Do they have blankets, and what temperature is it in Haiti, in the capital, at night? And second, the whole world is rushing toward rescuing and helping in this disaster. Who is in the lead as far as coordination is concerned? Is it the U.S.? Is it the UN? Is it a combined effort? Or is it someone else? Thank you.
Wait.
The UN is coordinating all the humanitarian and rescue efforts, but we are very grateful that in a very short time, many of the partners of the UN system have moved in and sent teams in, specialized teams, to help us out. But definitely the UN has kept the management of the crisis under its mandate, and we are issuing all the requirements that we need and all the support that could make that job easier for us. We are liaising closely with the government. As you understand, the government also has suffered enormous losses and collapsed facilities, buildings, so the capacity of the public sector at this point in time to respond adequately is very limited. However, we seek and consult on all the policy decisions to be made and the important orientation given by the government and in consultation with the government. On the other hand, the support of the NGOs, other donors, have been absolutely fundamental for us to get additional equipment and means. Thank you.
Yes.
On your question about the night temperature and people sleeping in the streets with blankets, I've seen that some have blankets and covers and so on. They've been able to draw stuff out from their homes. Others are less well equipped. The nighttime temperature, I would guess about 25 degrees centigrade, more or less, maybe 24. It's cool. It's warm enough for me, but it's cool for Haitians. Don't forget, this is the Haitian winter. For those of us from the north, it's very pleasant, but not necessarily for Haitians. Yeah.
Okay.
It's humid too.
I'm Ali Barada from Lebanon. What are the major needs you expect now from the UN headquarters here in New York? What are the major needs that you feel you need now from the UN headquarters in New York?
We have already received money to run the operations. We received, for example, from UNDP $400,000. We're getting unblocked a number of emergency funds so that we can cater for the immediate resources needed so that we get organized and equip ourselves mainly to improve communication and IT systems. So far, we are trying to get, for example, the team organized. We are camping in lock bays, do not have adequate shelter facilities, for example, meeting rooms, so that we can cater for the requirements of the other partners in the humanitarian area. However, we are functional. We are right now at a limited level functioning. And we have had a very quick reaction from New York for whatever we have asked. Doctors are coming our way. More human resources are being dispatched. We're getting stress counselors flown in today and tomorrow. So we are very grateful that help from New York has been forthcoming fairly quickly.
We discussed this morning with our colleagues in New York, and we take this on a day-to-day basis. But one of the things that we need is expert assistance in helping us manage all of the air traffic that's coming in. Planes are coming down by the hour. It's a relatively small airport, and we need expertise in movement control and so on to ensure that the loads are quickly offloaded, the planes are properly, parked or whatever. And that's going to be, unless that's controlled properly, we're going to get bottlenecks very quickly. And so we hope very much that we'll get some help in that direction, and we've raised this issue with our colleagues in New York already.
Right now, the U.S. government has offered to help us in airport management for a short period of time, and this is very helpful.
Is the UN running the airport now? Basically, air traffic controllers and everybody associated is UN personnel right now?
We're managing, I think we're managing with the Haitians the running of the airport, because I think the control tower went down in the earthquake.
Okay.
I'm Fabienne Santos with the French Public Radio. You said before that you had enough troops so far and you were not really concerned about that. Do you know what would be the task of the more than 3,000 soldiers coming from the US? And just one more little question. How do you communicate with one another, and especially from a country to another one? Can you communicate and coordinate yet to know who is the most useful and where? If I could have a little bit of French, that would be really appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we will coordinate very closely with our American colleagues, and this morning already our military chief of staff was discussing with one of their senior officers the way in which the work will be handled, and I don't see there'll be any problem. In fact, it'll be obviously more soldiers coming in to undertake humanitarian assistance, security, and other tasks will relieve pressure. We still will be able to handle things, but it will make it easier because it's an extremely stressful situation, and people, civilians, police, and military are working very long hours, unusually long hours, with very poor, certainly on the civilian side, ability to rest and recover. So I think that this additional help will be most useful, and everything will be coordinated. I can't give you details right now. They've only just in the preliminary phase of discussing this, but we'll keep you posted as events unfold.
We have discussed with the force commander here of the need for additional escort, military escort, and the force commander has decided that in case this is needed, he will redeploy troops positioned elsewhere in the country, for example, from Gonaïves down to Port-au-Prince to increase the capacity. We understand, although we don't have yet much information about outside of Port-au-Prince, we understand that Jacmel the city in the south is also affected and is needing help. So we're trying to deploy support there to Jacmel as well. We heard that Gonaïves is okay, and so is Cap Haïtien. These are the major urban centers. So we think that the most urgent thing is to take care of Port-au-Prince and then of Jacmel. As you know, MINUSTAH has troops deployed all over the country, and the armed forces are willing to pull back and reposition troops as necessary towards Port-au-Prince and Jacmel.
David and Kim, it's Martin. I'm conscious that, that there are lots of questions here, but also that you have many things to do, not least on the relief side to help the people. I'm going to suggest, maybe I won't be popular here, but I'm going to suggest that we take another 2 questions. But contradict me if you feel otherwise.
For our side, that's a very good suggestion, I think.
Okay, all right. Okay,
yes,
so...
I would have to leave now. I'm sorry, I would have to leave in 5 minutes because I am going to fly over the city with the Ministry of Interior, who has been appointed in charge of humanitarian operations from the government.
I think people are very appreciative here that you've found the time to brief them. And as I say, 2 questions. So first of all, Evelyn.
David, good to see you. Evelyn Leopold. You mentioned...
Hey, Evelyn.
You mentioned that you had rescue teams from France, the Dominican Republic. What countries were working in the Christopher Hotel for the special sensor and the special equipment?
Yeah.
French, Chinese, and Dominican.
Yeah, French, Chinese, and American. We also have American team, we have French team, Chinese team.
Okay, and yes.
Hi, I'm Daniela from the UN Radio.
Could you ask it in English as well?
Yeah. I'm going to ask the question in English, but I kindly ask Kim to please answer in Portuguese because she was the chief for UNDP there for the past 3 years, and she has recently taken her post in Haiti. That's why I'd like her to answer in Portuguese, please, and explain how is the mission working along with the peacekeepers to maintain the order there, and what is your perspective agenda for the next coming days there?
Obviously, could I ask you to repeat it in English, if you wouldn't mind, please, Kim?
Yes. Bom dia. Nós temos uma conversa permanente agora que a gente está trabalhando a partir da base do aeroporto com a MINUSTAH. O Force Commander, que é o general Pichotto, ofereceu toda a ajuda para a gente, para dar escolta e acompanhar o trabalho. Ele colocou 2 pessoas permanentemente com a equipe humanitária para poder coordenar as ações. Ele ofereceu também para nós tudo o que for necessário em termos de segurança das equipes das Nações Unidas, que tem que sair para a cidade e para o sul da cidade para fazer a avaliação das necessidades e também das populações onde eles estão, a população afetada, para a gente poder organizar melhor a distribuição de apoio humanitário. Neste momento nós apreciamos muito também porque nós trouxemos aqui na base do aeroporto uma quantidade importante de pessoal das agências humanitárias. Somos como 150 pessoas. Eles fizeram o máximo para acomodar e dar comida e também um lugar onde dormir. Não assim, mais ou menos, né? A gente encontrou cama, mas nós agradecemos e podemos reportar que a cooperação é permanente entre o exército da MINUSTAH e nós aqui, o Grupo Humanitário das Nações Unidas. I mentioned that we have agreed to cooperate in a continuous basis with the MINUSTAH military component. They have provided support to us. They have appointed 2 permanent members to sit in all the coordination meetings of the humanitarian family so that they're able to provide logistics, security, and escort to the work we're carrying out, and to make sure that whenever we go out, even to the south, we get enough coverage so that we can maintain peace and orderly distribution of relief support. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both again. And from here in New York, we all send our very, very best wishes to you and to all of your staff and to the people of Haiti. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Martin.